China and its South Asian neighbors are grouping for economic cooperation and shouldn't be viewed as a security threat, said Anoop Bhattarai, chairman of Nepal-China Executives Council, a Nepalese NGO dedicated to boosting bilateral friendship. Such dedication was motivated by his late father, who came to China to study as early as in 1958. What's the China story of 4 generations of this Nepalese family? What do they think of the transformation they have witnessed in China up close and personal? I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Bhattarai himself. Mr. Bhattarai, welcome to The Point. I understand that there is a second spike of coronavirus cases in Nepal. How serious is the situation? What kind of help is most needed, and are you receiving any help?
Thank you. So the present situation, I can say that we are at the peak. I think these few days are the worst few days in this second pandemic. So this time we have more sick people than last time. So the hospitals are exhausted. There is a big shortage of oxygen. We have also some shortage of medicines, but we get that from Bangladesh, so it's not so serious. But the oxygen, especially the oxygen cylinders, we have oxygen in the factory, but there are no cylinders to fill. So that is the most serious problem right now. And sometimes people wait outside the hospital because the hospital is full, and they wait outside and they die before they could get oxygen. So we are having this serious problem, but we hope that in a few days' time, the peak will go and then slowly things will be better. We are receiving assistance mainly from China, and some plane load of medical supplies to come. And now we are waiting for the supplies which are coming by land from Tibet.
I understand that during the first round of eruption, or in the beginning of the pandemic, you and your council helped secure quite some medical supplies from the Tibet Autonomous Region to Nepal. I understand it's equivalent to $1 million, and you distributed that to 20 hospitals in Nepal. What's been the response this time? Is your council active in securing more supplies?
Yes. Even this morning, we were finalizing the list of materials with the Tibet People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries. And hopefully in the next few days, we will get the support. And last year in February, when China had the pandemic and it was at a peak, at that time, there was shortage of medical supplies in China. So at that time, we had sent medical supplies to Yunnan from Nepal. So now when we are in difficulty, the Chinese side are helping us. It's a very good friendship, a friend in need.
I'm really happy to hear that, and many thanks from my part personally for the kind of help that you and your people extended to China, and I hope that this time you'll get adequate and timely assistance from China to help you meet the challenge. In terms of understanding of the Chinese society, you have a different perspective, a Nepalese perspective. When you first lived in China in the 1970s, China was completely different, right? You actually witnessed the transition from the end of a very difficult period of time to the start of the reform and opening up. And over the past 40 years, you've been traveling back and forth. How would you describe the changes that China has experienced?
Yes, when we went in the 1967, in those years, China was going through a very difficult time. But one good thing is we didn't have to see people queuing up for food like they were doing in USSR at that time. In China, everybody had a coupon for different things. Coupon for rice or
Right.
flour, coupon for egg, for meat, and for clothes. So people didn't have to queue up. And over the time, I could experience the progress and development of China. And I didn't have to read it through books like other people will have to do now. So I could live through that, lived
Yeah.
through these 50 years. So I can see very, very, very big change. And in the 70s, when we were studying, everywhere we could see the posters talking about four modernizations. So
四个
how
现
could
代
this,
化。
yes, Surat Shantaiwa, we would say, how can this happen? In 20 years, how could this such a big change happen? We could see the billboards, we could see overhead trains. We say, oh, now there is a horse or donkey cart in the street. How in 20 years there will be trains flying all around? So we thought,
Yeah.
but with visionary leaders and the political stability because of the Communist Party of China. So with the political stability and hardworking people and visionary leaders, this was possible. In 2000, we could see it. And my father was very happy to see the first Chinese astronaut go into space. After watching the Olympics in 2008 in the television,
Yeah.
I went to the opening ceremony, but my father watched in the television. And after that, he said, now I've seen enough of China's progress. Now my life is complete.
Wow. That's really touching. That's really touching. Well, yeah, it's been an amazing story, right? And your family have been amazing witness. How would you describe the role of the Communist Party of China in all of this transformation? What would you use to describe the kind of importance that the leadership has been to China's transformation?
I feel that the Communist Party of China has always been working for the people. In all these 100 years, they have been working for the interests of the Chinese people. That is why with this 50 years or 70 years, let's say, so they have proved that their vision and their management, their style of working is the appropriate one for the Chinese people.
Do you think there has been a change in terms of the image or the style or the spirit of the Communist Party of China from the times of your father up to now? Have there been any evolution?
I think they have changed according to the need of the time, because time is changing in these 50 years. The whole world has changed. So they have been able to adjust to changes and make appropriate policies according to the present time.
Do you think that's something important for the party, the ability to adapt and to change the policies, change their, but always, serving the people, putting the people at the forefront of their attention?
So I feel that in China, even though there is change of leadership, that is quite natural, but the policy of the party has not changed. And it has been always for the people. That is why we can see that the progress is always up. It is never going down.
How do you see the role of the party in terms of promoting stability and development of Nepalese-Chinese friendship over the past over the years since the two countries joined diplomatic relations?
In the 60s, there were three countries which were very welcome among the people in China. If we walk in the streets, people from 3 countries were very much welcome.
Yes.
That was Albania, Pakistan, and Nepal. So wherever we went, we always felt welcome. People were always nice to us. And I think with the guidance of the CPC and the people have the same feeling even today. Even today, the Chinese people are very friendly to the Nepalese people. And I think the policy of the CPC is also to support Nepal, support the Nepalese government and the Nepalese people. And this has not changed in these 50 years.
You have been watching The Point with me, Liu Xin, and my guest has been Anoop Bhattarai, Chairman of the Nepal-China Executive Council. We'll be back right after this. Making sense of the overwhelming wave of information means cutting through the noise to shine a light on the heart of the story and making room for new perspectives. True understanding means the ability to see events from more than one side. I'm Liu Xin, and this is The Point. Mr. Bhattarai, my question now is, what kind of implications has China's rise and China's friendship with Nepal been to the country of Nepal and to the people of Nepal?
I think being China economically strong, we have been able to take advantage, absorb this growth of China in 2 ways, mainly 2 ways. One is investment and the other is tourism. Tourism is one of the important industries in Nepal. So a big portion of our GDP comes from tourism. And now with China being prosperous, we have lots of Chinese tourists coming to Nepal, and that is helping our economy. And because Chinese government encourage Chinese companies to invest overseas with the Go Global slogan. So Chinese companies have been coming to Nepal to invest in factories, in hydropower plants, and this has helped to solve our unemployment problem. They have given employment to many people. And also, we can have, from the factories, we can have our own products. We don't have, our import is reduced. So they have made a big contribution to our economy.
China and Nepal are partners under the Belt and Road Initiative. For instance, telecommunications link between the two sides and a rail link between the two sides across the Kumulangma have been two very important examples. How do you look at the progress of these projects, and how are the Nepalese people looking or assessing these projects, and what kind of changes are they going to experience because of these projects?
After graduating, I had worked in Nepal Telecom, which is like China Telecom.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was the managing director of Nepal Telecom in 2014, so we just decided to establish the communication link between Nepal and China. After 1 or 2 years, maybe in 2016, we had the optical fiber connectivity. So we didn't have to depend on other countries to communicate with each other. We could have direct communications. And also Nepal could access the hubs in Hong Kong for communication to other countries.
Mm-hmm.
So this link was very useful for us. And now about the transport. Last time when in 2019, when Jinping visited Nepal, there was again commitment about developing the trans-Himalayan multidimensional network connectivity. So once this is implemented, once there is connectivity between Nepal and China, this could connect to South Asia also. So Nepal could be a bridge between China and South Asia. On one hand, Nepal could contribute to develop the economic exchange between China and South Asia. On the other hand, Nepal could also benefit from this connectivity. Nepal could become a center for the connection between China and South Asia.
That's,
So
that's
Nepal could do
Yeah,
that.
that's very interesting. However, in terms of cooperation, during the cooperation, because the size is extremely different, right, of the Chinese economy and the Nepalese economy, how has the experience been? I mean, when you are talking with your Chinese counterpart, either government or, NGOs or non-governmental levels, has there been a sense of equality and respect in terms of interacting with you during the years of interaction?
Yes, I think in that respect, our counterparts never deal with us like a big and small country. I mean, they treat us like brothers. They treat us equal. So I've never experienced that. And when they have to talk with us, I mean, with people from Nepal, they are extra cooperative and extra friendly. So I never had any difficulty. And with the guidance of my father, I came to know about China, culture of China, habits of the Chinese people, what they like, what they dislike. So it is very easy for me to
But in terms of
deal with.
Nepalese businesses, when they are dealing with their Chinese counterparts, because the size is, very different, has there been a sense of respect, a sense of, equality? Because that's what China advocates all the time when it's dealing with international relations, that it advocates countries should be treated equally, should treat each other equally without regardless of the difference in size.
Yes, some Chinese companies are very big, and our businessmen have been dealing with them. But most Chinese companies are interested to go outside, to go to other countries to do business or to invest. So they don't treat like that. I mean, they treat on equal basis. We have never experienced that.
How do you look at the significance of China's people-centered governance? China's spending a lot of resources in terms of improving the livelihood of its people. For instance, poverty alleviation. Last year, China managed to lift all of the absolute poverty-stricken population in the countryside. What's the implication for neighboring countries such as Nepal?
I think now that China has eliminated poverty completely, I think it's a good opportunity for us to learn from China's experience. I know many friends in different government offices. We were assigned to the villages in China. We were assigned to the villages for 1 year or 2 years to focus on one village and to help the village have some economic activity and help people get some sort of employment, some earning, so that there is no poverty anymore in the village. So we could also learn from that. I think China's poverty alleviation experience is very good for learning. So the experience and the education we can get from that is very valuable for us to solve our problems.
I would like to find out about your observation, your comments on the kind of international relations, the change in the environment of international politics in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and between now, there has been a lot of difference, especially in terms of China's relationship with the United States, for instance. Right now, I see almost a campaign to demonize China, especially the Communist Party of China. Do you see it this way? If so, what do you think has changed, and what's driving this kind of very hostile, very negative narrative about the Communist Party of China and the Chinese government?
50 years ago, in the international diplomacy, China had another sort of problems because China was not allowed to enter the United Nations, not in the Olympic Committee and other global organizations. So at that time, Nepalese delegates, wherever they went, whenever they had their opportunity, they always raised this issue. They said, we should allow China to re-enter the United, re-enter International Olympic Committee and other organizations. So we wanted China to come back to the global picture. And only the People's Republic of China can represent the Chinese people. So that was our view.
Yes.
I think at that time, we could also do some good, do some help for China in that way. Now, in present time, today, the thing is China has risen economically, and now China is also standing in the global perspective, let's say in the global arena. So some countries might need some time to adjust that there is also a new, strong friend who has come together. So I think there is some discomfort. So it will take time for them to adjust, to let China take its position.
What do you think has been China's strategic intention in the past, as it is in now, because there has been this worry that as China rises, it's going to pose a threat to others, or already does, and even talk about in South Asia, for instance, that China seems to want to have its own small circle to advance its own geopolitical interest. In the end of April, for instance, there is this virtual conference, video conference between foreign ministers of China and some of its South Asian neighbors. India was invited, but India didn't participate. And there were people who were doubting, what is China's intention? What does China want to do? How do you see this?
I think other countries should not see this as a security threat. I think this group is formed for the economic cooperation, and it will help all the 4 or 5 countries in the group grow together. So I think there is no harm with this group. It's because it's mainly for the economic development, not for security.
Coming back to your work leading the Nepal-China Executive Council, you have done a lot of job promoting economic cooperation between the two sides, exposing Nepal and Nepalese products to the Chinese market. What are you looking next? What are you busy now with?
Well, right now we are fighting with this COVID pandemic, so maybe another few months, it will take another few months for everything to return to normal. And actually, in the long run, what assistance we need from China is the vaccines, because it is the vaccines, it is only the vaccines which can eradicate this virus. So we look forward to receiving vaccines from China. And Nepal-China Executives Council, we hope in the coming days, our plan is, one is to re-promote tourism of Nepal in China. Because now we have to help the tourism industry stand up again.
Yeah.
It has almost fallen down. Yeah. We hope that in 2022, we can bring back tourists to Nepal. So our main focus will be on tourism first. And second, we will continue to work for increasing Nepalese exports to China, because we have a trade deficit of 40 times. So it's in China's advantage. So we need to help our companies to promote their products in China. So this will be the two areas, the main areas in which we will focus in the coming days.
Yeah. How about personally, your children and their future generation? Is the interest, the love for, China-Nepalese relationship continuing? What is happening on those fronts?
I have two sons, and both of them graduated from Beijing. And my elder son lives in China, and he has lived in China more than me.
Wow.
I think now I have lived more than 10 years, but he has lived more than 14 years in China already. He's working in China, so he'll be in Shanghai. So he'll be in China for a long time. And his son was also born in Shanghai, and he will be growing up in Shanghai. So our family relations with China will continue for generations to come.
Thank you very much. China is competing with you for your children. I hope you get enough chance to meet them, at least through video link. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Bhattarai. Thank you for your time, and of course for the generations of hard work, dedication to promoting bilateral ties. Thank you very much, Mr. Bhattarai.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I had the honor to talk to Mr. Anoop Bhattarai, Chairman of Nepal China Executive Council. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of The Point with me, Lishin. As always, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter using the handle Lishin in Beijing. Thanks for watching. You've got The Point.